Ready and action. Bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum 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 bum. Whoa! Hello there. Hello. Let me put my microphone on. We will get started. There we go. I got a new book in the mail. Yay! Well, got to start off here. Book out of this bag. Being Dakota. Ooh, edited by Laura L. I'm trying to read this backwards. Anderson. Originally compiled by Amos Oneroad and Alanson B. Skinner. What a cool book. A major contributions to Plains Indian studies. Let's read the jacket. Says here, at the beginning of the 20th century, a few members of the Sisseton Wahpeton Dakota community in northeastern South Dakota worked quietly to preserve the customs and stories of their ancestors in the face of federal government suppression and opposition by organized religion. Amos E. Oneroad, a son of one of those families, was educated in traditional Dakota ways and then sent east, where he obtained a college education and eventually became a Presbyterian minister. We will talk about that in a subsequent video, so stay tuned. Keep reading. For most of his life, he moved in two worlds. By fortunate coincidence, he met Alanson B. Skinner, a student of anthropology. Gotta shine my halo. Back. And kindred soul. In New York City, the two men formed a bond, both personal and professional, collaborating on anthropological studies in various parts of the United States. The project closest to Oneroad's heart was the collection and preservation of the stories and traditions of the Sisseton and Wahpeton. Oneroad wrote down the stories and gave them to Skinner. The men intended to polish the resulting manuscript and publish it, but Skinner's untimely death in 1925 thwarted their plans. Oneroad and Skinner collected descriptions of everyday life, including material culture, ritual, or tribal organization, ceremonies that marked the individual's passage from birth to death. Several of the folk tales relate the exploits of Ikitomi the trickster in rare, early, unexpurgated versions. Others tell of adventures of such figures as the Child of Love, Starborn, and the mysterious turtle. And then Laura Anderson found this neglected manuscript among Skinner's papers in a California library. She edited it for publication. Being Dakota succeeds in fulfilling its author's original intent by conveying these long ago stories and traditions to the children and grandchildren and being true to Amos Oneroad's voice. So Oneroad's years were 1884 to 1937. He's Sisseton Wahpeton, Dakota, ordained Presbyterian minister. Probably pronounced it wrong. Alanson Skinner, 1886 to 1925, was an anthropologist on the staff of the American Museum of Natural History and the Museum of American Indian. Wonderful. Now, this is the second take I'm doing of this video, by the way. And I see as I open this book, I bought a used copy, which was my mistake, because there's a whole bunch of writing in it. And I loathe books that have been, well, I don't loathe the books. I just hate it when people write in books in ink. If it were pencil, I could just grab an eraser and clean it up. What's even worse is books that are full of highlighting. Here is a picture of Skinner and Emerson. Neato. Or Skinner and Oneroad, I should say. The preface goes on for 52 freaking pages. We don't get to the text of the book till we hit page 53, and we've got all these wonderful photographs. This guy right here looks like someone who used to work for our college. Man, that's crazy. I believe he is, interestingly enough, a native Republican in the South Dakota State Senate. Neato, but he looks like that guy. Wish I could remember his name. Suddenly I'm drawing a blank. So there's some Eastern Dakota ethnology. Most of this is in note form. That's one reason why I'm hesitant to just sit here and read it word for word. It's all like a big old giant, what do you call it? Outline. And we don't really get into some fun stuff. Oh, soldier killing war challenge, place in the TOTP. Oaths, war medicines, warriors test, war charms. This bunch of mostly it's notes, and like I said before, whoever had this book before I got it wrote in it. Raw Fish Eater Society, Girls' Purity Ceremony. Girls sometimes gave certain ceremonies for virgins. A round stone was set up, and the girls used to come forward one by one to touch it and swear their purity. If any lied, the stone toppled over. If any young man heard a girl swear and they knew the contrary, he accused her and dragged her out of the crowd, and she was subjected to all manner of ridicule. If there was any question about the matter, the young man had to take an oath by the arrow test. If he lied and the test proved it, he would be hurt on the next warpath. And in addition, he was thoroughly trashed by the Akichita. Akichita. This is a Sisseton ceremony, and it is also found among the Wahpeton and Santee. Ooh, medicine eating feast, buffalo dance, Wapia or medicine man. Ooh. A medicine man, when called to attend a sick person, first causes a sweat house to be built. The patient is brought there and permitted to enter. Then the medicine man calls his familiar spirits to the spot. He has a little moving spirit stone, which is called a Dakushkanshkan. The stone has the power to stop and bring back to the human body the spirits or souls already on their road to the hereafter, or in other words, to restore the sick to consciousness. It can also find lost horses, etc., or game. When the patients and doctor are together in the sweat lodge, the doctor narrates stories of his fast and his supernatural dream guardians and what aid they have promised him. Then he weeps, sends the spirit stone off, and the waiting people all outside stand. Interesting. Neat. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but these is, like I said, is mostly notes. Dakota naming customs. Among the Eastern Dakota, the custom of ordinal names to children as they are born is found. Thus, the firstborn, if a boy, is called Chashke, the second Hepangna, the third Hepina, and fourth Hatangna, and the fifth Hadekan or Hakedan. No names occur for more than five, and the last name, Hakedan, as I understand it, means the last, with an inference about the purity of the title, so it literally means the pitiful last. With girls, the firstborn is given the name of Winona, the second Hapangna, the third Hapstina, the fourth Wanshke, the fifth Wihake or Wihake. Sometimes these ordinal names are born throughout life by the individual. For example, the writer was once acquainted with a middle-aged Wahpeton woman who had no other name than Chashke. However, this is not often the case for young men who had distinguished themselves in battle in former years or modern times, who had displayed conscious generosity, were entitled to take new names. I'm going to keep rolling because I'm going to sit up here and just read. It's already 16 minutes and 28 seconds. Traditions and customs. There's some Iktomi stories. Iktomi and the bathing girls. Once, as Iktomi was strolling along, he saw two girls swimming on the opposite side of a lake. He immediately uncoiled. Ooh, I'm not going to read that. Kind of revolved stories in here. Iktomi and the mysterious raccoon. So yeah, Iktomi does some naughty stuff. Iktomi and the elk. Ooh, this sounds very similar to the story of Coyote and the elk. Oh, Iktomi wants to become an elk in this story. So yeah, I am going to stop wasting your time with all of my mumbling and muttering and just urge you, please, if you haven't got a copy of this book, grab one, because this is some old, useful, and sacred stuff going on here. Neato. All right. I'm going to knock it off there, 17 minutes and 45 seconds, and we'll take it up in a subsequent video where I speak about Sherman Alexie and playing More Indian Than Thou. Thank you so much. You guys have a nice day. Talk to you later.